Lalo kang gumaganda, miss ko.
Sabi nga nila sa akin, Maynard marunong ka pa rin kumilatis na maganda.
Alright, nasa isang tubo na ngayon. Maliban kay Miss Ho, may iba pang personnel ang pinatransfer
Looking to
natin.
me that joy lost and chasing in the middle cost.
I know you'll do it.
Kapalaran mo. Kaya pala na-stuck ka na sa pinakamahirap na department sa airport.
Bakit ang sungit mo? Dahil kay Arlene? Noon pa, alam mo namang karibal ng tingin sa'yo ni Arlene, kaya lagi niya kinukumpara ang sarili niya sa'yo.
Bakit mo ako sinundan sa paglipat ko dito?
Overcome all these challenges.
Kapit lang mga kapuso.
Dad, I'm recording. So yeah, I'm gonna try to learn my watch. I don't know if I can reach it. Okay guys, I gotta skip that.
Miss and Robin time for ASMR. How about Miss and Robin for some food?
Hello and welcome to the 2020 Digital Foundry Graphics of the Year.
Sorry guys.
Our number 9 choice for this year for best graphics will be Minecraft RTX or Minecraft DXR, however you really want to call it. A new version of Minecraft released for Windows PC, DX12 version utilizing path-based graphics. And you know, this started off earlier in the year in a beta version that I covered with John back then, and we've also covered, you know, a path-traced mod for the Java version of Minecraft in the past. So this is very much so in that same vein. It only kind of goes to number 9 on our list here because, you know, it's a game that looks like Minecraft. Like, you know, at the end, the tech is really cool driving it. You have this really systemic lighting system where you can, you know, almost make a game out of the lighting itself due to how, you know, every single object reacts differently to the light and it bounces everywhere. But, you know, it's, you know, 64 by 64 textures or 32 by 32 textures can only look so good in comparison to the other games we have on this list. And I was thoroughly impressed. I really liked the way this game
I agree. I'm also very impressed with it, and obviously path tracing is kind of the holy grail for real-time rendering. So it's kind of nice to have sort of this first look at it. You know, obviously there's also Quake 2 RTX out there. And you kind of get the idea of that, yes, some of the more simplistic games are serving as demonstrations of path tracing, and that's for a good reason, because performing this complex operation in a higher fidelity game is extremely expensive. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get there.
It's a glimpse of the future, essentially, and it also just really shows how important lighting is for game graphics in general. Minecraft looks, you know, it looks like a game that came out almost at the end of the 90s in certain ways in terms of its presentation, but when you just change the lighting formulas driving those graphics, it looks really, really modern. So
Precisely.
it's a really good thing to talk about.
So that's number 9. For number 8, then, I'll tackle this one first. We went with Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yes.
And the reason for this is pretty simple, actually. It's one of the more impressive examples both of a 2D platforming game, technically, but also of a
Recording.
specifically. So, obviously, it did launch with a few minor issues with performance, but that has since been ironed out, and now it runs beautifully.
Oh god, what was that?
Switch, by the way, which-
It's the fireworks.
So what I love about this is the way they've sort of fused
Oh, the
this
dogs are
2D assets, all these
Well,
beautiful
they,
layers
it's New Year.
with 3D models. And the benefit of their layer system is actually the game has full
So
depth
sorry
of
for that.
So it knows
It's
what's
so
behind each and every layer,
fantastic
which is actually a
that
little bit more expensive
it's going to
to
be
do.
so
But this
beautiful.
approach also means you can have things like perfect depth of field without any of the typical artifacts. They also developed this absolutely killer lighting feature, which is essentially like painted on dynamic
Frozen.
lighting, where they painted different states, like light to the left, right, up, head on kind of thing, on these different textures and pieces of artwork to simulate the light, and then they sort of combine that with some other shader magic to create the illusion of the dynamic light moving across a painted surface.
Does it?
Gives it a look that's pretty unique, I'd say, right? It looks really good.
It's really great, and I also really love the fact that it is targeting extremely high refresh rates. Well, on PC, obviously, it's every throw at it with hardware, but on consoles, it's already targeting 60 FPS with this really cool fluid animation and high resolution. But you go over to next-gen consoles, and you have 4K 120 mode, right, John? And you played that through, and 4K 120 HDR. There's not many launch games that can say they're pushing that. Yes, it's a 2D game, but when you see that all in motion at such a high fidelity, at such a high frame rate, you're not really thinking that the game is simply a 2D game anymore.
Exactly.
It looks special.
Exactly. And the HDR is also exceptional in this game. Just seeing it in motion, it really is, I think, one of the most beautiful games released in the last decade by far. It's just absolutely amazing. So those guys, we did that nice behind-the-scenes video, which really kind of helped gain appreciation for what they put out here.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, they've really mastered Unity. I mean, obviously they've made a lot of changes to the core. Yeah. They've built their own tools and a lot of new pipelines to handle this sort of performance, but it really showcases what's possible with Unity in the right hands. So that's number 8 then.
I guess I'll start off with our number 7, but you actually covered this more than I did because I got sick. And this would be Doom Eternal from id Software, running across last-gen consoles all the way up to PC, and now just recently released on Switch, which we're going to probably have a look at some point soon enough, maybe.
That's right.
This game is just really, I think, I don't know how to describe it. It reminds me of like arcade levels of perfection, of targeting 60 FPS and designing your entire game engine around that fact, and also going above and beyond the Call of Duty for, Doom 2016 already looked really good, I thought, when it came out. And I was surprised back then that it was pushing 60 so well on consoles. And, Doom Eternal comes along, pushes out the amount of geometry rendering on screen, ups the level of effects that you're seeing constantly in terms of particles. And I think the art design is also just really, really well done.
And part of that as well is they ditched all remnants of mega texture, which had still been hanging around in id Tech 6. id Tech 7 completely eliminates this, allowing, for what I believe are the more effective approach to textures, allowing them for much granular detail on the materials and such. And you can really feel it in this. Just the quality. They've not only pushed out texture detail, but as you say, like the geometry, the meshes they use are so much more dense. I mean, they had already done a lot of optimizations to get there with the Wolfenstein games. Yeah. But Doom Eternal goes even further with this. So, but despite all that, like you said, the focus is on targeting 60 frames per second minimum, except for on Switch. There's a good reason for that. But so it really shows what's possible when you really so carefully architect an engine with this high performance target in mind. And every design decision they made was done so with this as the goal. And when you look at it, it's just one of the best looking games there in terms of just pushing so much detail at high frame rate. Oh, and we didn't even touch on the animation.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's they go for a less realistic style of animation. They really allow the artists and the animators to sort of really get into it. So everything feels exaggerated. And when you combine that with the motion blur, it just has this striking appearance to the animation.
Yeah, I always love the way the imps animate specifically, because they get onto walls.
Yeah.